These people suffered from inequality and discrimination out in the world. And we're giving them one last chance to fight fair and win.
I think it's safe to say the world of Squid Game is definitely a bit luck-based. Contestants who are given no chance for reasons that come down to luck, and sometimes outright rule changes, and plenty of occasions when the physically elite reign supreme. In this video, we're going to look at every Squid Game contestant or abundance of contestants who met their demise in a completely unfair manner. However, I do want to clarify, a lot of these are commonly misinterpreted as unfair when it's actually luck-based, which is not the same thing. With the show finally, hopefully, completed, we have 3 seasons to look at, and with Season 1, the undisputed best season, it seems to have the highest number of unfair deaths. The first one being, oddly enough, where it all began.
Dumbass got caught.
Yeah, it's a lot to mention the first game, but let's look at it realistically. First off, they don't know it's a death contest yet, but you could still say try to win, so they'll disregard the first death. However, once you realize what's going on, that somebody died for real, one of 3 things is gonna happen. You'll logically realize you're not supposed to move like most of our leads do, maybe freeze up in complete fear, your best chance. But like most of our contestants, they rightfully so panic, and I can't say any of that's fair. I do want to clarify, I'm not faulting the show for this, at least not at this point, but it does fit in with the video topic. Unlike the honeycomb, when they do still have a chance, even if they get the umbrella, with this, panic will set in. You're probably going to think they're just trying to kill you. In fact, they outright state this after. And also with the honeycomb game, you didn't have to pick the umbrella. It should have been the obvious thing not to choose, despite not knowing what it means, but there's no such option here, nobody expects to die, so I think red light, green light, the most iconic Squid Game, is to more than half the contestants, the death sentence, and to many of the viewers, likely an issue.
Look, that man was killed. That bastard just killed him.
Like I said many times, the biggest issue with Squid Game until Season 2 is letting stronger players beat weaker players to death, and then the next episode act like they're about fairness.
That's bullshit.
The first is player 271, who they basically set up. Doksu is allowed to kill him over a drink with no consequences, and then realizing that's allowed, they stage a night brawl. Obviously some fight back, so it's debatable who had no chance and who did, but 198 clearly didn't, as many others didn't too, and even our lead Gi-hun got extremely lucky, as he did in almost every game, but yeah, definitely not a fair world. They also apparently could have done this the next night if they chose, but decide not to for plot reasons, and yes, I will call them plot reasons because I don't like this idea. It's the seasons, one big flaw. And now we have something that's completely, and I mean completely unfair, and could only be survived if they knew it was coming. The tug-of-war victims, specifically against Doksu's team, had no chance given he actually did cheat, and knew what the game was. But the fact is, if you end up on the wrong team, you're screwed. It's tug-of-war, a game about strength. Sung-woo suspected all men might be ideal, but failed to get that done. But if you're a female and can't end up as the only female on a team, you'll probably end up dead. Yeah, Gi-hun's team managed to get out of it because of the old man's strategy. Being an old man, he knew about that stuff. Nobody else could be expected to. Also, the cheating made it real unfair. That wasn't by design, but a game made to be unfair toward women definitely was. Opposed to an infamous game we'll soon get to that actually was about luck. This could be out of your hands. You can't force men to let you join their team. And even though I despise Squid Game the Challenge, fuck you Netflix, it's the only game to be completely removed and replaced with Battleship, for obvious reasons. Not that they gave a shit about fairness, the real game is fairer. But anybody who died in this game, especially the women, didn't stand any kind of chance. Unless, you know, you got on the right team.
Using your set of 10 marbles, play the game of your choice with your partner. The player who manages to take all 10 marbles from their partner wins.
Yeah, I know you may be expecting Ali as he got completely screwed over by Sang-woo, but he still handed him the marbles. It's devastating, the show's saddest betrayal, and you could argue it shouldn't have been counted, but he still let it happen. His fault was being way too trusting, way too nice, but there is another complete bullshit move that nobody ever talks about. Deok-soo's main man, player 278, is no longer loyal upon being his opponent, and it would seem every marble game of odds and evens is completely one-sided. It's always one player keeps winning, in this case Deok-soo is losing, and he gets out of it by saying, "No fair, give me a new game." He says we're both equals. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, maybe because the new game is more physical, but I don't understand why the guard okays this. Just like that, his victory is gone. He may not be the most sympathetic character, but he still had the game won. It was complete luck, 50-50, it wasn't benefiting either side. In the end, he barely won anyway, but any kind of elimination after that move is complete and utter bullshit. Maybe nobody talks about this because of who he is and not even having a name, just player 278, but I don't get how he can say, "I'm losing, give me a new game." Given the episode it's in, nobody's gonna be crying about it, but his victory was literally taken away.
Is made at a heat over 700 degrees. Pound on it with a hammer and it rings clearer than normal glass.
Okay, I will stand by the glass bridge kind of being a load of shit, but technically, it's fair.
Is this a joke?
Don't get me wrong, it's entirely luck-based, but like I said earlier, that's not the same as being unfair. Everybody has the exact same luck, there's no physical difference. You can even make an assumption which numbers would likely be better. And despite what I said 3 years ago in my Season 1 review, this game wouldn't really kill off that many contestants. I fucked up there. That's proven in the awful Squid Game, The Challenge, because there they couldn't try to kill each other. It was 50-50, that's it, and if the players didn't do anything stupid and cause unnecessary deaths, a lot more would have passed. As for player 017, that goes completely out the window, as he may be the most fucked over out of anybody in the franchise. What he was doing was not cheating, utilizing his knowledge of glass, being an older contestant, nothing remotely wrong with that. But they shut the lights off anyway because the VIPs wanted it, meaning he could no longer tell. Yeah, he could have still made it because he had that marble, could have just jumped if he didn't hesitate. But even though Sang-woo was the one who killed him, it wouldn't have happened if not for the VIP screwing him. It's kind of infuriating, and I guess it's supposed to be, but the front man talked about fairness.
That's bullshit.
He said that to his own guards, the guys about to kill, and not the players. There's no reason to lie. But I think it's safe to say there's nothing fair about this, and we're not done with it yet.
You're not holding up too well, huh?
No, it's okay. I feel fine.
Apparently being lucky enough to make it through the glass bridge is still not good enough. No, the glass then explodes for no productive reason, and obviously, that's not safe. I still don't know what the point of that is. It could have potentially killed any of them. It's purely a plot device. And that's why Sae-brook is severely injured, because the plot needs her dead. Sang-woo later executes her, he's quite big on that. She probably wouldn't have lived anyway, and that wouldn't have happened if she wasn't dying. It's another frustratingly bad moment, and you can't even blame it on the guards wanting her gone, because they couldn't have known she would have been hit. I have no issue with her dying, but there had to be a better way of doing it. I don't know what the injury added. Sang-woo was still a man, he could have just overpowered her. I get he needed a reason to do it, being they would have voted to end the game, but again, couldn't they have voted to leave anyway? In fear of what the next game might be? That would have made Sang-woo more sadistic if he killed somebody who wasn't dying? I don't know, I don't like complaining about this season, but if you're gonna kill off a beloved main character, it has to make sense. If it isn't obvious, this doesn't, but hitting the like button does, it's right down there, as is subscribing. Anything would be appreciated, this video was a lot of work, and the gaming channel is there too for similar content with games. link in the description.
What's going on? Is he high?
Nope. That dude's not high.
Moving on to the second season, the worst season, and the only game to be repeated in Season 2. Most of the deaths are a lot fairer due to Gi-hun warning them, but in the case of player 196, who you may have thought would have been somewhat relevant, is the first to be eliminated for what I say is an unfair reason.
You got a bee crawling on you.
A bee? I just moved, didn't I?
Even if you were already being shot at, that could easily throw you off, and if you did actually get stung, it'd be really hard not to move. Given nobody's been shot at yet, it basically was an automatic death. I kinda wish the trailer didn't give it away, but unfair nonetheless. She died because of a bee. It's that simple.
What are you gonna do about everyone who voted to stay because of your crap? How are you gonna make it right?
Yeah, the six-legged pentathlon is another game when the wrong team could kill you. The idea is each player must complete one of the 5 games, and if one of them can't do it, well, guess what happens? We see this early on when 3 players don't get a chance to do anything. If one person fails, they all die. Yeah, you can strategize and give the player the game that suits them best, but given they formed teams without knowing what the game was going to be, potentially they could have nobody suited for all 5 games. The main thing is, it's down to luck. There's nothing you can do if your teammates fail. That's why I'm not a huge sports fanatic. But similar to red light, green light, I don't consider this to be a flaw. I know it's not meant to be fair, but on the topic of unfair deaths, these are all those.
Who the fuck cares what those stupid bastards do? They're outnumbered and no one else is gonna change sides. It's over.
Are we gonna be safe?
Yes, Season 2 has another brawl. More of a night attack, I guess. And given it had Gi-hun and a few others not even trying to help, basically sacrificing them, these deaths are even more unfair. Players like 380 had practically no chance. They were completely outnumbered. It's pretty much the same deal as Season 1, but an even worse situation. I don't think the unfair factor bears too much explaining.
I agree. Look, dude, all we got were these keys. That's not very fair, is it?
And with that, we're on to Season 3, with the best game from that season, and probably the second Squid Game competition period, but it's also the most one-sided. I don't know what the win-loss ratio is to red and blue players in this episode, but I know what it realistically would be. The red vest players were given a knife and told to kill the blue vest players. Aside from the mental strain of not wanting to do that, it wouldn't be that hard. But if you have a blue vest, survival is going to come down to hoping it goes your way. Again, it's strong versus weak. You could potentially fight off the red vest and even obtain their knife, but if you can't do that, you have to hope the key they randomly gave you opens the door you run into. Because even that's random, there's 3 locks and 3 types of keys, so to even have a chance, you have to hope you can team up, and also hope you have the right keys. I know players survive without doing that, but you probably wouldn't. It really is down to hoping you don't run into them, so the competition is aggressively one-sided. It just wouldn't be that hard. The Psycho and 333 kill multiple players with ease, and like I said, unlike the glass bridge, the vests you get are random, as are the keys. This inclusion may be controversial, but if I was in this game, I could never guarantee victory. There's no viable strategy unless I could literally fight them all off. You could argue just do that, but they have a knife, so good luck. It may be the best game in some time, but it's one of the most one-sided.
That baby gets its dead mother's number. And all her money worth almost $5 billion!
And finally, we have the baby, aka 222, and Gi-hun. Let me explain. Technically, in this case, nobody died who could have avoided it, but I think it's safe to say making the baby into a player is beyond unfair. Obviously, we have contestants who would willingly dispose of it, in this case, most of them, and because they did this to entertain the VIPs, one way or another, some kind of unfair death has to happen. In this case, it was Gi-hun sacrificing himself, which could have been avoided if somebody hit the button, or if 333 had not killed Agent De Niro so quickly, but if it wasn't for having to protect the baby, he still wouldn't have had to die. In the same vein, if the baby died, obviously unfair, so because of this bullshit decision, something unfair had to happen. Technically, no one single unfair death took place, but because of the situation they created, nobody was dying for a skill-based reason, or even a luck-based reason. Either a defenseless baby got thrown off, or Gi-hun died to save it, and the worst thing is it only happened because the VIPs wanted it, like player 117 in Season 1. For their amusement, fairness was thrown away, so I chose to include this even if being a stretch, but Season 3 is, oddly enough, the most fair season. For whatever that's worth. And that's it, I think. Every death in Squid Game that was unfair. Some will disagree, debate what else wasn't fair, the honeycomb challenge, maybe the jump rope, but I think those games still gave the players a way out of it, even if it was on the unfair ratio. I'm sure I've missed something even though I looked over every death one by one, but given Squid Game is a show many don't tolerate criticism toward, no video on it can be without controversy. Let me know what you think anyway. If you enjoyed this video, please do share it, and the like button is down there too, along with subscribing. Again, the gaming channel is an option. One last reminder, content will continue there at a normal rate eventually. There's a link in the description. I'm the Analyst, and remember kids, a fair world, my ass.